Another week, another chance to save the season for the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe that's a bit dramatic, but not by much. Welcome into Everything Else. I am Joshua Brisco. Nick Springer producing the effort behind the scenes today. Of course, Everything Else is brought to you by KC Cannabis Company. Huge shout out to our friends over there. I do feel a little bit of something different after Thursday Night Football, something that, frankly, I was not dialed in for early in that game. I was here at the battle station working on pregame show stuff for the Chiefs Radio Network, and I kind of had Thursday Night Football off onto the side, as I do at certain times throughout the year when it's maybe not a game I'm expecting to be terribly competitive, or not a couple of AFC teams, but I really put on my blinders. I got a bunch of work done and went downstairs to the television to flip on Thursday Night Football, and what was happening? The team with Davis Mills is beating the team with Josh Allen? Maybe the sport's about more than the quarterback. Who would have known? But I will tell you, I feel a little different. I don't feel better. Here's what changed for me last night before we get fully into Chiefs Colts. This will, of course, be the bulk of today's show. The bad news, you know what? Let me do this first. Let's lead with the good news. It's a Friday. It's a Red Friday. We're trying to generate some good vibes because the vibes of these last 3 weeks have not been good. We're going to refresh the vibes a little bit. Here's the good news, and one of the lessons that you should have learned from Thursday Night Football last night. The AFC has essentially 10 teams who could just beat each other any week. I'm not willing to completely extend that to, like, the Raiders. I wouldn't actually extend it to the Dolphins, but they did beat the Bills just 3 games ago. So I may be cutting it short on 10, which would get you in the playoff seeding down to the Baltimore Ravens. 11 is the Miami Dolphins, who, again, just beat Buffalo not very long ago. 12 in the AFC are the 3-7 Cincinnati Bengals, who might be getting Joe Burrow back. They're not going to be a playoff team off of that. They're not going to be a good team off of that, but they are going to be a pesky one to get rid of the rest of the way. There may really, with apologies to the Raiders, Jets, Browns, and Titans, a Browns team, by the way, that gave the Ravens a real scare last week with Shadur Sanders out there at the end. There are 10 to 12 teams in the AFC who can, any given Sunday, the rest of the conference. That's good news for the Chiefs in this rare instance because the Chiefs are one of those teams outside of the playoff picture. They're team number 9. The bad news is that the Texans probably deserve a little more respect than I've given them so far. The way they started their season, the idea that they were going to have to survive this stretch of games with Davis Mills instead of CJ Stroud, the issues they had in trying to keep Stroud upright in their offensive line, I thought that the Texans were a good football team who just with a couple of mistakes here or there, couple poor strokes of luck, that they were just going to be on the wrong side of the coin this year. It's kind of how I feel about the current 5 seed Los Angeles Chargers, by the way. They've lost their top 3 tackles, and they're a totally different team, as anyone would be a different team, without their 2 top-shelf, excellent starting left and right tackles. So, I look at the Chargers, and I looked at the Texans, and the same way that I kind of look at the Jags, who trounced the Chargers last week. I kind of put them in that bucket of teams that it's like, oh yeah, this is a good start for them. But as the season goes on, they're probably going to fade away. Right now, nobody's fading. I mean, I guess, technically speaking, the team who's fading is the Chiefs. You lose 2 games in a row, even separated by the bye. You've gone from 5-3 to 5-5, and you get the current 3 seed Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. We're going to say Shazam in the comments. It's hard to read these handles now that YouTube screwed them up. It says, are we cooked versus the Texans? I can't watch Mahomes get sacked into oblivion. I can't either. The good news is I think the Chiefs' offensive line is better than the Bills' offensive line right now. Is that possible? Josh Simmons being back, just such a big deal. He looks so good against Nick Bonito. A couple of, welcome back penalties here or there, but I actually feel pretty good about the Chiefs' offensive line. The bad news, though, that you're getting to, Shazam. Also, shout out to Jonathan. Says, hi, Josh. This is my first Chiefs content since Sunday. Thank you for coming back, Jonathan. I understand. I understand the feeling. I have done probably 5 full podcasts and 10 overall appearances talking about Chiefs-Broncos since that game, and I've done it enough. I've had enough of Chiefs-Broncos. I hope we get something more fun to talk about on Sunday. But the bad news from Thursday Night Football is that the Texans do appear to be legitimate. They do appear to be an ascending team in that group, and that pass rush is real. When I talk, and frankly, no one's arguing with me now, but when we were talking about the Chiefs pass rush earlier in the year, and this is kind of an unfair little side swipe, but like when we talk about the difference between George Karlaftis as a very good, useful player and a top shelf disruptor, what the Texans did last night is a perfect example of what it looks like for a pass rush to just totally take over a game. And Chris Jones has done that at times. This year, not as much. But it's a tough thing to build a defensive line that's that good. Obviously, the Texans invested in it tremendously. It's not just like, why didn't Brett Veach ever sign a defensive end? I liked the moves that the Chiefs made, like bringing back Charles Omenihu and adding some picks in the second and third round, even though Norman Lott, done for the year. Gelati, one of the guys right now. But when you talk about a pass rush truly changing the tenor of a game, that's what it looks like. And in this big picture AFC take that I'm presenting to you here, 12 teams that can beat any of the other 12, and 10 teams who are really in the mix for 7 playoff spots. You've got to start picking at who the Chiefs can prevent from getting a playoff spot, who the Chiefs can hold behind them, or who the Chiefs can leapfrog. And you have to look at the way they win their games. So something that we talk about, it comes up ever so often on Only Weird Games when Seth talks about styles make fights. That's not a Seth original, but it feels like that's where we've talked about it the most. When you do have games between very evenly matched teams who do things differently, styles make results. Styles make playoff advancements. Styles make postseason disappointments. If you told me that the Houston Texans were the 7 seed or the 6 seed going to the 2 or 3 seed Indianapolis Colts in the playoffs, obviously divisional rivals who have 2 regular season matchups already. If you told me that the Texans go to Indy and just instantly unplug all the good vibes from the Colts because their pass rush just turns Daniel Jones into a pumpkin, I'd believe you. I'd believe that that's on the table. Do I think the Texans are a better football team than the Colts? No, not really. But it's a really, really fine margin. Also, and I imagine, I'll show my hand, I imagine that most Chiefs fans like me just kind of found themselves rooting against the Bills last night. I did. I don't feel great about that. I like to think that I've said before that if the Chiefs just didn't exist for a season, I think I'd want the Bills to get a Super Bowl because of how beleaguered that fan base is. I like Josh Allen. It just seems like it would be a good, worthy story for, again, a long-suffering fan base, as opposed to the Patriots getting right back on top after a very short absence. I'd rather see the Bills win, I think. But there is also something kind of satisfying about, the Chiefs and the Bills have dominated this conference, and hat tip to the Ravens as well. Watching those teams lose kind of feels good from the Chiefs side, because okay, at least we're all closer in this muck than we maybe thought. It was slightly statistical bad news for the Texans to win that game last night. And as we're looking down the line and looking at playoff scenarios and everything, the Chiefs have to play the Texans, which could make this a wash. And obviously they've already lost to the Bills. So I was kind of thinking, the Chiefs probably aren't catching Buffalo or passing Buffalo, I should say, because they've got to be one game better than the Bills by the end of the season because they lost the tiebreaker. The Texans will have the opportunity, the Chiefs will have the opportunity, however you want to frame it. The Chiefs will have the opportunity to take the tiebreaker and a game on Houston in a couple of weeks. So, it's slightly more than a couple of weeks, I suppose, but it's, yeah, basically, December 7th. They just play so many games in such a tight period of time. Thanksgiving and Christmas, man. I just hope these games count for something. That's all. At this point, I've accepted that we're doing Christmas and Thanksgiving. I just want the games to matter. That's all I'm asking at this point. But if the Chiefs beat the Texans head-to-head, they're going to have a chance to keep them at arm's length. But you probably need the Steelers to start falling out of the division as the Ravens climb into the picture. You need the Jags to back off as the Texans try to leapfrog them. The Chargers have to continue their descent. Otherwise, you're going to have a really hard time getting three AFC West teams into an already stacked playoff picture. It really is like 2 weeks of Chiefs-Texans. That's crazy. Yeah, 2.5, 7, whatever. December 7th. Sunday night, too. Forgot about that. That one's staying on Sunday night, by the way. They've shuffled some things around in the flex games, and I think it makes sense now. God, 2 weeks from Sunday. Thank you, Nick, but thank you for nothing. Again, just too many games shoved together. I'm stressed about Thanksgiving now. Texans game's in a month. No? In 2 weeks from Sunday? Cool. All of this is in a month. Christmas is in a month. All that to say, the AFC has been kind of shook up into this position to where I don't think you need to holistically believe in any of these teams in a huge way. 7 of them have to make the playoffs. Like Ed says in the chat, Bills winning would have helped our playoff chances, but I can't root for the Bills out of principle. I think that's totally defensible. And again, ultimately, here's the thing that I'll offer, just from like a scoreboard watching standpoint, before we start talking about the Colts a little more. It doesn't matter what the Texans do if the Chiefs don't beat the Texans. It could, if the Chiefs win every game the rest of the way and they only lose to Houston, and then it might a little bit. But there is too much for the Chiefs to do for me to get super worked up in the individual results right now. The Chiefs have to handle their business holistically, and then we'll be able to do a little bit more of that mathing there. But I do think we have plenty of evidence at this point that the AFC is just put your dice in the shaker, roll them, and hope for Yahtzee. That's where the AFC stands now. So, Kansas City Chiefs, can you climb that pile? Can you get out of the tar pit? Can you escape this muck and mire where you just have to win your football games? Colts, Cowboys, Texans, Chargers, whoever comes around, this team just doesn't have a lot of reason to be worked up about intra-AFC games until we know that they can win more football games. We'll talk about them on Sunday. If the Chiefs lose to the Colts, I don't think we're going to come in here talking about the Chargers on Monday. It's going to be about the Chiefs. So those are the stakes. And in that way, it's very similar to last week, just with even less margin for error. If the Chiefs beat the Colts, and certainly if they beat them in any sort of convincing fashion, a couple of turnovers for Daniel Jones and a 30-plus point offensive day for the Chiefs. If the Chiefs win that way, the talk next week is going to be all about how, look, they're still outside looking in, but bury the Chiefs at your own risk. We've seen this happen before, and we've all learned the lesson in recent years. We've learned the lesson that you should not bury the Chiefs until they are underground, with a stake in their heart, headstone, and the whole deal. But if they lose, the season is on, at best, life support. Not quite over, but probably one loss away from over. I think 11-6 probably gets the Chiefs in. And again, hey, with all the tiebreakers, and the way the AFC is shaking up right now, no guarantee. But I think 11-6 gets you in, and I think 10-7 with tie-breaking losses to the Bills, the Jaguars, potentially the Chargers, potentially the Texans, if those are one of your losses. If you're 10-7 and you've lost a bunch of tiebreakers against AFC contenders, you're probably not. You're probably not making the dance. As Paul says, if the story of the 2025 Kansas City Chiefs. That's what's so frustrating. And it's got to be what's frustrating to them. I think Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, Patrick Mahomes, Brett Veach, Clark Hunt, I have to imagine that we all agree on a couple of things, which is that you look at the depth chart, you look at the schedule, you look at the advanced metrics, and you go, wait a second. Why isn't this better? It looks like it should be better. And it does. That's why I wanted to talk a little bit more about the offense today. And I think we've seen some relatively similar stuff here as well. Like, yeah, has Andy Reid's offense looked a little bit stuffier as the league has adjusted over these last couple of years? Yeah. Are there a lot of other teams in the NFL right now running Chiefs-y offenses and having success? Not really. Is that a legitimate cause for concern? Yeah, absolutely. The offense hasn't been good enough in the moments that matter this year. Did it also look like the Chiefs' offense was absolutely returning to form as one of the best offenses in football for 3 straight games, 3, 4, and 5 games ago? Yeah, it did. That's the whiplash of it all. The argument for and the argument against, it's the reason for the hot take incubator. It's the reason that we can't overreact to every single thing we see. But they're just running out of runway. They have had opportunities. And Sunday against the Colts will be another one. They've had opportunities. And the frustrating thing is just that they've missed too many of those. They've had chances to make small evolutions, to make those high leverage moments a little bit easier to grasp onto. When we talk about, like, I've gotten the question a bunch of, how much of this is on Mahomes? Some of it for sure. How much of this is on Andy Reid? Some of it for sure. How much of it is on the offensive game plan? Some of it for sure. One of the things, though, where I think those problem-sharing factors can make life a little easier for each other, and it's why the structure of it's a little frustrating, is that an under-center run to Kareem Hunt has fewer ways that it can go wrong than a wheel route out of the backfield to your rookie running back who gets very sparing work. A handoff from under center to Kareem Hunt has fewer moving parts that can get caught and blow up the play than Patrick Mahomes dropping back and having to read and be patient and have protection and create and find a guy who has to catch it. We've talked about easy buttons. We've talked about easy answers. We've talked about all these different ways that the offense can evolve. As I believe the artist formerly known as Hugh Jazz says, running the ball and good O-line play works? Who'd have thunk it? Exactly. And the Chiefs are good at it. This isn't one of those instances where it's like, man, just imagine if the Chiefs could run the ball in short yardage. Kareem Hunt's been very good in that. Here's some under center numbers that you know and I know and the Chiefs know. JP Acosta put these out on social. JP put, the Kansas City Chiefs, when under center running the ball, 3rd in success rate, 2nd in EPA per play, 10th in yards per carry, 28th in attempts. He adds, they can live in this world. It feels like the RPO stuff should be more of a side attraction instead of the main feature. But once again, opportunities. The times you could have done this, we're talking about this one game after the bye when we had all of this talk of self-scouting. So I know these numbers, you know these numbers, the Chiefs know these numbers. It would have made sense to do something and to come out in that, frankly, it would have made sense to do this before the Bills game. This wasn't new from the bye. We were talking about it weeks ago. But you saw what the Texans did last night. You saw they found a competent running game with Davis Mills at quarterback against a Bills defense that struggled. They ran the ball pretty well against Buffalo. They didn't do it very much. Would have been a great time to take that strength out in Buffalo. Would have been a great time to retool over the bye and bring that strength to Denver. Now, maybe this is the time. Maybe they run the ball and play good defense against Indy and shorten the game with fewer possessions and try to play like a team who's an underdog, despite the fact that the Chiefs are in fact favored. They could still make that pivot now. But I don't know what's really different today as opposed to this time last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. They were still looking for answers like they are now. They still had opportunities to make those changes like they do now. Is it going to look different on Sunday against the Colts? I don't know. I think it should. I think it's worth trying some different things, but I also know that those underlying stats are pretty good. The offense is scoring. They're moving the ball. Until you get to those crunch time gotta have it moments, and they haven't been able to do that this year. That, I think, is an ongoing conversation that I think we've had on this show, I've had on others, where, again, I think you want to be able to rely on your best thing in those biggest moments. And that is not something the Chiefs have really been able to do as of late, despite the fact that, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, we were talking about an MVP campaign for Patrick Mahomes. We're talking about the offense being back. Talking about the defense being good enough to shut down some of those offenses. And even like Paul says, Andy's turned to the run before, but I think he's just too damn tempted by the weapons he has now at wide receiver. I like this wide receiver room. They're not, if they were feeding Rashee Rice 10 touches a game, not just targets, but like real touches, if we were getting a lot of, what did they call Michael Thomas? Somebody called him like the Slant Man or Mr. Slant or something. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Slant Boy, actually, which is much less flattering. And I don't remember who called him that, but I think some defensive back called Michael Thomas Slant Boy. Is that right? Someone will remember this. If they would have just make Rashee Rice Slant Man, then, Slant Man, like the superhero. That's actually good. I think this is a good idea. But if Rashee Rice wants to be able to shrink down tiny or get really huge and be Slant Man, and you want to just spam him over and over, you want to create a bunch of touches to Xavier Worthy, you want to find a little bit of versatility in terms of how you're getting the ball to Brashard Smith. If you are just so enamored with your weapons that you're feeding those guys that way, and those are replacing some of the run plays, even like the RPOs kind of can, I get it. I'm open to that. I thought Mitchell Schwartz had a really interesting breakdown on the RPO math of it all earlier this week. But they don't act like a team. They don't operate like a team that is just deeply in love with their receivers there either. Tyquan Thornton has been one of the most impressive parts of this offense, and he's still a very part-time player. So I don't know. I wish the Chiefs felt like they were more in love with some part of their offense. There was some identity factor there they could just hang their hat on. Thank you, Nick Springer. Bucks cornerback Carlton Davis called Michael Thomas Slant Boy on Twitter in 2021. I remember that. I have to really sit and think to remember my family's birthdays. I don't know what that says about me. We will continue to talk about specifically Chiefs Colts. We'll do our one worry, one wish, and we will have the ever formal Nick Springer, which will make more sense in about 2 minutes, stepping in to take his role in today's show. But first, I get to tell you about some very special deals happening at Kansas City Cannabis, kccannabis.com, for adult use only, 21 and over. You know what I've said many weeks now. They are Kansas City through and through. They are local. They are for the locals. I mean, they're for anybody, but they are a part of this community in a very real way. 5 KC area locations. You can check out all of their info, all of their deals, all of their details at kccannabis.com. Here's the news, ladies and gentlemen. Green Wednesday is November 26th, and Black Friday is November 28th. The entire store is 25% off at the KC North, Blue Springs, Kearney, Excelsior, Lottawanna. Those are their 5 locations. Whole store is 25% off, plus they're going to have doorbusters and raffles both of those days. And Cyber Monday, December 1st, all online orders receive 30% off. It's going to be an absolutely incredible set of deals there at Kansas City Cannabis. Plus, might have a little more coming around the corner too. We'll tell you about next week. But huge deals coming to Kansas City Cannabis, a local cannabis company that is again for the city, a part of the city in such a meaningful way. They're not transplants; they're local here and serving the community in a way that I like to think local companies can serve their community in very special ways. Plus, their bud tenders are the best in the biz. They'll teach you what you need to know and keep you on the path of whatever. Hey, I'm curious about XYZ. What can you tell me? The bud tenders are there for that exact purpose. The best education you're going to get is going to come from the bud tenders. Maybe you're a seasoned vet. You're just looking for a recommendation. Maybe you're a newbie. Just ask the bud tenders at Kansas City Cannabis. Check them out online at kccannabis.com.
Looking for premium products in Kansas City? Whether you're new to the world of dispensaries or a seasoned enthusiast, we've got just what you're looking for. Proudly Kansas City owned and operated, with 5 convenient locations in Kearney, Blue Springs, Excelsior Springs, KC North, and Lake Lotawana. And our knowledgeable team can help educate and guide you so you can feel confident in every choice you make. Come see for yourself what makes us the most trusted name in Kansas City.
It's a formal casual Friday for the one and only Nick Springer. Bringing some red, bringing some KU, bringing some teal. For the audio-only audience, Nick has gone with the absolute... And I feel like I should wear sunglasses now, too, so I might have to find a pair in here.
No, actually, I can't see, so...
Oh, that's important. You do need to be able to see things.
Yeah, I can't see when I have these on. So
we got the Teal City...
Like, I mean, does this look okay? I guess it doesn't look too bad.
It looks great. I couldn't tell. Well, that's actually way funnier once you can see your glasses behind it. That's perfect. He's got the teal tie, the teal frames on the sunglasses, and the KU t-shirt. You look like you haven't yet learned some terrible news about the Kansas City Current, is what it looks like right now.
Yep, that's true. Yeah,
you look like you are waiting to find out when the game is this weekend, and it's like, hey, Nick, terrible news.
Bad news. Yeah, it's casual Friday, so I ditched the blazer, but you know what? I still got to look a little bit professional. So
I love that. I think you're the first person to say that about this show, and I really like that you have brought an air of class to this operation that so clearly needs it. Let me get your temperature, because we, if people may or may not know, we spend every Chiefs game together in the same room with the Chiefs Radio Network. So we are in, as you've said, a padded room together. And we're going to be doing it for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and your birthday this year. But the vibes, I'm not going to quote you directly or anything, but the vibes were not immaculate on Sunday after the Broncos loss. They were not immaculate against the Buffalo Bills either. How are you feeling today on Friday with a little bit of time?
You know what? I'm back, Josh. Here, let me give you a little rewind back to how this week went. Sunday evening, I wanted to take a long walk off a short pier and tie a brick to my foot. And just die, okay. Monday morning and Monday, I was just so angry. I was just so upset. Like, I've never been more pissed after a Chiefs loss in the Mahomes era than I was after this Broncos game. Tuesday, some of that anger, started to continue. Wednesday, I went to therapy and I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe everything's fine. Everything is okay. Thursday, I'm back. Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Here we are Friday. It's go time, baby. Chiefs are back. We're going to the Super Bowl. I understand the chat is a little worried, but I'm back. Fully back. Let's do it.
Is the chat worried about the Chiefs, or is the chat worried about you? Because either way, I think yes.
See, I agree with Paul. Paul says back when if they beat Indy. They're going to beat Indy. I have no doubt in my mind.
You have no doubt in your mind?
I'm more confident now that I know that Daniel Jones is going to play. If I knew Anthony Richardson was going to play, I would say, oh. Now that I know Daniel Jones is playing, easy W.
That's such a great take. I love that so much. Let's do our one worry, one wish. And I'll tell you what, if we want to triple down on this serving, I'm open. I didn't expect, there's a ghost in the machine today that's really disorienting. I'll see if that lever gets pulled. But I'll start with my worry, and I'm giving you 2 worries, actually, because I thought about one, and then I came up with another one, and you know what, I'm just going to share my concerns with everybody. We're all going to do this together. I am worried that it's Bills-Broncos offense part 3. I'm worried that there is a lack of evolution, and we're just seeing the same thing for a third straight go. And if that's the case, I don't know, maybe that version of the offense is good enough to win a football game, but I'm a little bit worried about that. like big picture, but that was kind of a part of the open. The really specific Colts thing I'm worried about is Tyler Warren. He's an animal. I don't feel like he's gotten nearly enough coverage this week because Jonathan Taylor's so good. Daniel Jones is so interesting. The Colts wide receivers are good as a unit. Got some good players in there too. Tyler Warren is a kind of like game-changing, versatile weapon that is terrifying in any circumstances and is especially terrifying against a Chiefs defense that has not handled tight ends very well this year. So I'll give my official worry to Tyler Warren and the attempt we will have watching the Chiefs try to cover him.
My worry is pretty simple. It's Jonathan Taylor. He's coming off a bye. He's maybe one of the best running backs in the league. We've seen the Chiefs do well in this season against running backs, i.e. Derrick Henry, but then we've also seen them not do very well against guys like James Cook. So I'm worried because if I said I'm confident because Daniel Jones is playing, but if the Colts can just line up and run HB dive every play, then Daniel Jones can't do anything stupid. And then it's, so it's just
this is true.
So that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about Jonathan Taylor being a guy that the Colts can just go to at any given moment and get 5-6 yards, and that might be it. So that's my one worry, because obviously I'm not worried about Daniel Jones. Why would I be? He's a fraud.
I think that's probably true, but I'm also a little bit worried that we're going to come back on Monday and we're going to go, God, it was Daniel Jones again.
Listen. What I am saying is either going to go down as incredible prophecy, or it's going to be like some of the most insanely clip thing of like, oh, this guy thinks Daniel Jones sucks, and then he just went off on us. I don't know. So I'm
speaking of a recent hate campaign led by a KCSN member that backfired in a tremendous way last week. Tucker Franklin's here too. Let's go triple box for it, baby. The whole gang is here. The whole gang is here. Tucker, what are you worried about? And how have your mentions been the last couple days? Have they cooled down?
I'm worried that I'm going to say something about this other team that's going to get. I'm going to ask to be clipped. Actually, is what happened. I said, hey, actually, can we clip that? And can everyone give me 10,000 views on Instagram for that one now? So that has been awesome. That has been great. Thank you for Broncos fans for feeding me for this month. That's the spin zone that I am taking in this, is I have now been fed because of Broncos fans, and I have no doubt. Look, here's the thing. You guys know this already. Didn't change my opinion on Bo Nix. I still think he sucks. Okay, here's my worry, though, for real this time. I was kind of perusing NFL Pro, as I've been doing, to kind of start my breakdowns of that football show, and like, okay, where do I want to start for this game? I've obviously watched a lot of Colts football this year. My best friend, who I'm going to the game with, is a Colts fan, so I have some familiarity already with the Colts. And I found this stat, and I kind of came across a stat, and I was kind of surprised by this. You watch the games and you're like, okay, this makes sense, and this kind of like doubles it, backs it up. When using play action this season, Daniel Jones has completed over 70% of his pass attempts. That's pretty crazy. That's the 5th most yards per attempt as well at 9.2. That's an average, is what he's doing right now on play action. That helps when you have, as Nick mentioned, a nasty running back like Jonathan Taylor, right? That play action definitely works as well as it does. You mentioned Tyler Warren, Josh. He's got the 2nd most receptions on play action this year, while Michael Pittman Jr. has the 4th most. So these guys are getting all of their stuff off of play action. You might be thinking, okay, I'll just be ready for play action then. Well, that's the thing. The Chiefs have allowed the league-high 81.2% completion percentage against the play action this season, as well as the 2nd most yards per attempt at 11 yards per attempt. So it is kind of a nightmare matchup for the Chiefs when it comes down to play action and how good the Colts have been at it and how bad the Chiefs have been at it.
Yeah, that seems like something worth worrying about. Yeah, that's terrifying. When you put it like that, Tucker, that's terrifying. Great. Well, here's my wish is that doesn't happen. Go ahead, Nick.
That's not ideal. Yeah, and also, what's the best thing they could do if they're getting 6 yards a carry with Jonathan Taylor is run play action and throw it to Tyler Warren. So, Tucker, I think, has perfectly encapsulated all of our worries into one thing.
Yeah,
that's probably going to happen a lot on Sunday, and then I'm going to want to stab my eyes out.
Yeah, it is good. Everyone should know Nick is a very level-headed guy who is never a danger to himself or anyone else, as far as I can tell. Well, I do feel silly having my wish be Tyquan Thorne season. That does feel like, in retrospect, not a good enough wish, because I actually should wish that the Colts just don't do the things offensively that they've done all year. But I really do think, look, man, we just talked about the wide receiver group altogether. Like, do the Chiefs really love their wide receivers, or do they just have a fun roster of them? I would love to see a little more Tyquan Thornton. This isn't because I'm ready to demote Xavier Worthy. One guy in this receiving core has shown himself to be really good at the deep ball, coming back for the ball, and Mahomes has been really good at giving one guy a chance more often than others. It's been Tyquan Thornton. So just in the mix, please. I think the Chiefs had some of the right ideas pushing the ball downfield against Denver. I would just like to see it a little more consistently, and more consistently specifically to Tyquan Thornton. Nick, what's your wish?
My one wish is HB motherfucking dive, bro. Give the ball to Kareem Hunt, run straight ahead, under center, run the ball, okay? Against the Broncos, Kareem Hunt was averaging 4.5 yards per carry. What do? We throw it 45 times with Mahomes, okay? Run the ball. Run it. Run with Kareem Hunt. Get your 4 yards in a cloud of dust. Because, by the way, you wonder why the Chiefs suck on third down? Because it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 every goddamn time. If you just run HB dive with Kareem Hunt, that won't happen. HB dive.
You cut out for a second, Nick. You said shotgun RPO handoffs to Kareem Hunt. You said more of that.
Actually, well, that would be funny, Josh, because that doesn't happen. When they run RPOs, it's just a pass. Okay? Jackie Moon commented on this earlier in the chat. I've been telling you this, Josh, for like the past month in some form or another. When they call RPOs, they're just pass plays. Because Mahomes is Mahomes, and he just thinks he can throw it in every window. So it's just a pass. So just don't call it RPO and just call run plays. Because every time you call an RPO, it's just a pass. And Mahomes finally acknowledged this in his press conference this week and was like, oh, yeah, maybe I can hand it up more. Yes, you could. Every time it's an RPO, it's just a pass. So just call run plays.
Sounds like Nick's PO'd, huh?
I'm very PO'd.
I am RPO'd, damn it. Tucker, what's your wish?
Really pissed off. I want to piggyback off of Nick because I did see that this stat when I was doing my NFL pro perusing that they operate out of shotgun the second highest rate in the league. It's
can't spell pro without RPO.
You can't, actually. That's a really good point. You can't do it. 56.1% of the Chiefs' design runs have come out of the shotgun. That's the second highest mark in the league, and they maybe have the 42nd best running back duo in the league as well. So that's going to be a really interesting mark for them. Which is actually kind of funny because if you look at the stats for both Pacheco and Hunt, there was one that I saw here. Like, they're actually averaging pretty decent numbers in the running game, but they just never do it. And are they averaging really good numbers because they never? It's like a causation correlation type of deal that I have tried to wrinkle with myself. But my wish is that the pass rush all of a sudden becomes like what the Houston Texans pass rush was last night. And like, that's my wish, is that out of nowhere, there's like, oh yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. And they figure it out, and then they have 8 sacks. Yeah. Now this is probably wishful thinking against an offensive line for the Colts that is really good. But I just wish that they would get after the quarterback and absolutely put Daniel Jones in a pressure cooker, because look, he hadn't had any turnovers the first 8 weeks of the season. Last 2 weeks had, I believe, 5 turnovers. Yeah, 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles in the last 2 games. So, and that is a cause of heating him up and getting after the quarterback. So that is my wish. And really my wish is not necessarily blitzing him, but that the front four can get pressure when they need to get pressure and not do nothing.
And to this point this season, that has been a wish. Like, I wish that they would, find a wizard in a tower who could cast a spell and make them just a slightly better unit altogether. Because we started the show talking about the game last night, and I just that is what it looks like when a pass rush takes over a game and just starts to deconstruct a quarterback. And the only times the Chiefs have really been able to do that in the last couple of years has been Chris Jones or Spags, essentially. And we didn't get that game against Bo Nix. Are we going to get that game against Daniel Jones? I don't know, but truly, if I had one persistent wish all year, if I had one magic wand to wave, it would be to cast a spell on the pass rush to get at that extra 10% or whatever that separates, a bunch of good NFL players from a bunch of great NFL players. And I would love that very, very much. We've talked about this game a lot. We've talked about the Chiefs a lot. what if we just take a little time out, we come back, we talk about some other things to send us into what's going to be a nice, peaceful weekend that certainly doesn't make Nick Springer want to claw his eyeballs out. We'll give you some other things you can do next.
Chiefs Kingdom, what is your favorite touchdown? By now, you guys already know that my favorite touchdown is the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. You want spreads? They got it. Over-unders? DraftKings got you covered. Same-game parlays, regular parlays? DraftKings has it, and you need it. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
All right, let's get ourselves a little bit of peace, a little bit of a hobby, a little bit of something else outside of the Kansas City Chiefs, just to really center ourselves for the weekend that will be. I'll start off with a promotion for another podcast, which is probably good business by me. But this podcast is really important to me. I may have told Tucker about this in past years. Almost certainly haven't told Nick about this. I need people to listen to this podcast, and I got good news and bad news. The bad news is this podcast has been happening since 2015, I believe. The good news is you can catch up in like 12 hours or so because it only comes out once a year. Perhaps my favorite podcast in the history of podcasting, because of the concept behind it all, is a show called Till Death Do Us Blart. And every American Thanksgiving, the three McElroy brothers from My Brother, and Me, and two New Zealanders from a podcast called The Worst Idea of All Time, they get together, and every American Thanksgiving, they watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 and record a podcast about it. Now, this is, I believe last year was the 10-year mark, if memory serves, and I think this year we're going into year 11. I re-listen to these episodes very frequently when the holiday season comes around. It's how I know that there's a chill in the air, and there's 5 grown men watching Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 every single year. There are 2 other elements to this that's really important. It is not just an annual podcast, it is an eternal podcast. And so the plan is, and I hope we have a lot more years with the original crew here. Big fan of the original 5. But the idea is that eventually the hosts will begin to die. And when they do, they say at the end of every show who their replacement would be in the event of their untimely demise. So, this podcast will eventually change hosts. It will evolve over time. Every odds are that I will not be around to reap the rewards of what the long-term future of Till Death Do Us Blart ends up being. But in the meantime, you get 5 guys watching a really terrible movie that has some real deep lore after you watch it under duress more than nearly a dozen times at this point. So I am a huge fan of the podcast Till Death Do Us Blart, and I think everyone should go give that a listen, because truly there is literally nothing else quite like it.
I actually liked Paul Blart Mall Cop number 1. I don't think I ever saw number 2, actually.
Yeah, I don't think I did either.
You're in good company. Lots of people didn't.
To be honest, there's so many movies nowadays where it's like, I see a commercial and it's like, I don't know, something crazy like the 4th edition of this movie. And I'm like, where was I for 2 and 3? What happened?
Yeah. Great question. I don't know. And also, what's it going to take to get a Paul Blart 3? I feel like it should be... I feel like we should have the pieces. And this is something they've talked about many times on the podcast. It's not an original idea. They've pitched lots of good options for Paul Blart 3. Doesn't appear that it's in the cards right now, but I can continue to dream.
I'm trying to remember the storyline of what the first one was.
He stops a robbery, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
The first one's in a mall, and he bombs a rainforest cafe. The second one is in the Wynn Hotel in Vegas. There's an art heist. See,
is there another Kevin James movie where he's in a zoo in a similar circumstance?
Yes. I think so. There's Here Comes the Boom, where he becomes a boxer or MMA fighter. I can't remember that one. I do think that there is but I think The Zookeeper was a different movie, right? And We Bought a Zoo is definitely a different movie.
That's probably it.
Is The Zookeeper Kevin James? I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Yes.
I like to believe that all Kevin James movies happen in the same cinematic universe, and it's just him going through these different roles. Really, the things in Paul Blart 2 that are worth hearing people talk about, it's not the movie itself. It's the deep lore of the Shadow Man, and is Paul Blart dead the whole time, and that kind of thing that comes up years into watching it on an annual basis. So, huge recommendation for that.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Nick, what's on your mind in the non-sports world? What's been getting your gears turning lately on a Paul Blart 2 level?
I have a confession to make first. One of my favorite artists that is a guilty pleasure of mine is Ariana Grande. I love Ariana Grande. I think she's great. I think she has a beautiful voice.
Your mic got worse as you were talking about this. I don't know what happened. It's like your mic.
The deep state was trying to get to you, I think. Yeah.
Yes, you sound fine again.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yes, 100%. It was literally like one of my guilty pleasure, one of my favorite artists is. It's really what it sounded like.
God doesn't want other people to know what my guilty pleasure is, I guess. But
let the people know.
It's Ariana Grande. I love Ariana Grande. I think she has a fantastic voice. I love her music, and so I have various songs of hers on my Spotify playlist. I was driving home last night. One of them came on, and that got me thinking about Ariana Grande. It got me thinking about the new Wicked movie, which Paul talked about. I never actually saw the first one, which maybe I should. Maybe I'm not a true Ariana Grande fan if I haven't.
She's in it.
I know, so maybe I'm not a true fan.
Pretty good.
But that also somehow that led me down another line of thought and a rabbit hole to Ariana Grande, and that led me to this one quintessential question that I would like to bring up on today's show: what happened to Pete Davidson?
I'm so glad Tucker ended up making an unscheduled cameo today, because I do feel like he may have an answer. I know for a fact that Tucker gets TMZ push notifications, which seems like one of the least healthy things you can do for your brain. But Nick asked me that before the show, and I went, I don't know. I feel like I saw Pete Davidson in something. He's getting all of his tattoos removed, and I haven't heard from him in a while.
The last that I can recall of Pete Davidson is that he was dating Kim Kardashian, which I don't even know if he still is or not.
No, he's not.
No way, right?
Oh,
okay.
Okay. That's
once she failed the bar, he was like, I'm out.
I could be more successful.
Yeah, but then I know didn't he do like a documentary or something? I didn't even know he removed his tattoos, to be honest. So I'm way behind on the Pete Davidson lore, clearly.
He's actually in a commercial, I think, with Alexa right now. He has a commercial that's airing it. So he's trying to figure out like what to call him, right? He's like, let me go by Peter now. And then he's like, nah, that doesn't sound right. He's like, let me go by Double P. You want to be called PP? And he's like, no, actually, I don't want to be called.
Well, that was kind of his brand for a minute.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I will say, I don't really know what he's doing. I know he left SNL, and I think he tried to do like more like the solo comedy stuff. I think he might have a couple movies coming out as well. But Josh brought up the fact that I have TMZ notifications, and I can read you. Can I read you a couple of them that I have on my phone right now?
I would love nothing more.
Because
this is a recurring segment.
This is going to be so out of context for me. I paid no attention to any of that stuff.
Yeah. TikTok star Ben Bader's cause of death released. Is the last one I got 2 hours ago.
Know who that is, but that sounds like a bummer.
TMZ: Carnival cruise passenger goes overboard off Mexican coastline.
That's scary. That's like my worst nightmare. I'll never go on a cruise ever. By the way, ever refuse.
Renee and I have talked about doing a cruise at some point. Not really I would rather not be on a floating hotel.
It doesn't matter how much you pay me. I would never get on a cruise.
Do you guys see
ever.
Poop
Nope.
Cruise? Do you guys see that?
I remember the
I
coverage of
watch
the
it
poop cruise.
because
I haven't.
I don't want to know about it because I already hate the idea of going on a cruise.
Now hold on. So Nick did say no amount of money, and that simply can't be true, right? Like if we're like, hey Nick, $50 million, and you're just gonna go be in a room on a Carnival cruise for a week.
7 day. Oh.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
I mean, like I think I would go on a cruise if it was just like free. Like I think that is my.
Yeah.
I don't really want to pay for the privilege, but it's also not something I'm like super excited about. I understand the hesitation, but I have made a habit over many years now. This may go back to days when like Tucker was interning and then would say something like "There's no amount of money," and then I would just yell until he admitted that there was an amount of money.
Yeah.
I love playing the game of like, oh, you wouldn't cut off a finger for $1 billion because because I'm insufferable, I guess. I don't know. Okay, next notification.
Pablo Torre did kind of something on that too, and he's like, now more than ever, we have learned that there is a price, especially when
There
it
is a
comes to
price.
like live golf
for
and
everything.
everything like that. Like
Yeah.
everyone has a price, and the number might be a little bit lower than you were hoping. Oscar winner Kevin Spacey says he's homeless. Why? What happened?
Is why what happened in the notification?
No, that's editorial.
Oh,
That was editorial
okay.
from my end. Yeah, that was
Okay.
editorial. I didn't catch this one at the time. This is kind of this is not shocking, but I'm excited to catch up on this one. Real Housewives of Potomac star Mia Thornton was arrested in Georgia. Can't wait to see how that one unfolds on the show. Just watched it.
Wait. There's a Real Housewives of the Potomac? What does that even
There's a
mean?
Real Housewives of a lot. They're about to drop Real Housewives of Rhode Island, by the way.
Nick, do you know
Rhode
about
Island has like 3 people. How's that possible?
They're all housewives. Well, you know what? You know it's in Rhode Island. There's rich people go to Rhode Island all the time.
Nick? Do you even know about the secret lives of Mormon wives?
Buddy.
I've heard about it.
Okay, great. I haven't seen any of it. All I know is the name.
Consume it.
Same, 100% same. Not my bag.
I've got
Jack Miller, by the
two.
way, asked a cruise where? A cruise to the bottom of the ocean because that's why I'm not getting on it.
I've got two more. We got 2 more notifications for you. Cardi B posts pictures with newborn baby.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It turns out it's with Stephon Diggs. I didn't even know.
Is that the Diggs
Holy
baby?
cow, did you not know that? Yeah, this is Stephon
No.
Diggs, baby. Yes,
I was
Stephon
not
Diggs also
watching
has
on that
3
either.
more children incoming with other women, by the way. And he's pulling the Tyreek Hill.
So you can kill the.
I know one
man,
thing he's
you
not
can't kill
pulling.
You can kill the man with Antonio Cromartie, but you can't kill the idea.
You cannot kill the idea.
You got 2 active Antonio Cromarties in the league right now.
Sounds like he's got a Nick Cannon.
Oh boy.
David viewed as a suspect by investigators in Celeste Rivier's apparent homicide. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about this news?
Oh yeah, this
Singer
okay.
David, yeah.
Yes. I didn't know him
actually did
until
hear about
the car thing. It seems horrible.
I didn't either.
And also, the fact that they're just now saying, I think this guy's a suspect. I thought that when the report came out. It was like, they're
Yeah,
just
but
now
they-
naming him a suspect?
Didn't that happen like 2 months ago?
More longer than that. Yeah, it was. I
Really?
mean, it was like the summer. They're like, hey, there's a dead body in this guy's car, and they're like, that's weird. I don't know how that got there.
Yeah,
he must not be a suspect.
that is one thing I actually did go down the rabbit hole on because he has like a bunch of songs where it's like
About
he
killing
basically talks about killing her. I think, right?
Yeah.
Or like it's really weird.
Somebody should really look into that.
Very bizarre.
I think
Really bad.
I think his like top song is called like "Lover's Homicide" or something like that. Or something.
Yeah, like I'm
Awesome.
yeah, it's wild. I actually did look into that one. I don't look into many things, but I did look into that.
I gotta double check the name of that song. But yeah, so I do have TMZ notifications. Pete Davidson. I don't really know what he's up to actually. Now that
Somebody said he was on Weekend Update on SNL a couple weeks ago. So, which that's what he
There we
used to
go.
do, right?
He's made also a lot of money. He might be doing the thing that apparently every college football coach is incapable of doing and just like enjoying being rich for a little while.
yeah.
Just screw off and live your life.
Yes, I just can't imagine being like, no, I must recruit high schoolers for the next 6 months until I'm miserable again.
He posed with a Elise Hewitt. He knew. Oh.
Oh?
What?
All right, Tucker's learning. Welcome to Tucker's TMZ corner.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Tucker Media Zone.
Pete Davidson. This is 2 days ago, so you guys are learning as I do. Pete Davidson makes a rare return to social media with confession about Elise Hewitt. Apparently, he got her pregnant.
Oh,
Pregnant girlfriend.
I don't know who that. Am I supposed to know who that is?
Elise Hewitt? I don't think so. I'm also going
I
to
don't
see
know who
Wicked
that is.
tonight, though. By the way.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
dude. Hell yeah.
Super.
I
stoked
should
for that.
do that. Watch that.
Wait,
Well,
what are we
should we double
watching? I was
feature
writing
it?
down the phrase. I was writing down the phrase Tucker Media Zone for future use.
I'm just terrible about seeing these movies that I'd be like, oh, I would like that movie, and then never watching the movie.
Yeah.
So I need
The only reason I go and watch movies is because I pay for the AMC A list, where I pay 20 some odd dollars a month, and I get 4 movies now a week. They raised the price by like $1.99, and AMC
A
is
week?
Like,
is that right?
yeah, you can. See
I thought it was
4
you
movies.
get unlimited movies for a month.
Well, 4 movies
Oh,
a week.
4
is
a week is
damn
pretty
close to
good.
unlimited.
Yeah,
I don't
no
know how much
kidding.
time you think
I didn't realize
have,
it was that
Nick,
much.
but, no, like that's what AMC did. Is like they raised the price. I remember it was $19.99. They're like, all right, we got to raise it to $20.99. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you an extra movie a week, and we're gonna give you free upgrades to popcorn, and then like there's like 4 different things. It's like, oh, like that's fine. Like cool. I'm glad that you guys did this. You felt bad for raising it $1.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
I'm
Good
not
business
gonna do
versus
that, probably.
Increasing prices, taking away things, and then being like, why is everybody mad?
Right. Yeah.
Casey
No,
Company,
AMC.
shout out AMC.
Look at that. Love to hear that. Well, look at this. It's 1 o'clock. If you have a real urge to get one of your remaining nonsense topics off, you are more than welcome to. But we've done a full show here. This is remarkable. Look at us.
No,
All 3 of us.
I don't care about the Hunger Games. Counter
I was
Strike is
also
awesome.
unaware.
I'm very excited for that. The major starts on Monday. That's a super niche that probably no one even knows what I'm talking about, but it'll be a lot of fun, and I'm very excited for it.
This is the show for throwing that out into the universe.
I enjoy anything competitive with one exception, and that's water polo. I think water polo is a stain on society. We need to abolish water polo. I think it's the worst thing ever created.
Yeah, it's bad for the horses.
Every other, well, that too, regular polo too. You know what? Why not? Screw it. But yeah, the water polo should be completely abolished.
Marco Polo, get him out of here.
I may run for office on that platform alone. I am going to eliminate water polo from society completely. It's a disease. It's a stain. Other than that, everything else competitive is great. And Counter Strike is a very fun video game that is really awesome. I love watching it. And they have 2 tournaments a year that are major tournaments, which is basically like the Super Bowl essentially of Counter Strike. And it starts on Monday, and I'm going to be very excited to watch.
Oh.
So.
Okay, so hold on. The question that we're all begging the answer to. Why is the one exception? Did you have your heart broken by a water polo player? Did George Karloftis burn down your house? What? Why do you hate? Why is water polo the one of all competition? Why water polo?
It's so stupid. Have you ever watched it? It's just 2 hours of people treading water doing nothing. It's the dumbest. It's not even a sport. It's so stupid. It's nothing. It's stupid. That's why I hate it.
It's more stupid than
when the
swimming.
Like when the Olympics come on, I will watch all the Olympics. I'll watch cross-country skiing. I'll watch skeet shooting or whatever the hell, the bow and arrow one. You know, because dude, this guy from Turkey at the Summer Olympics 2 years ago was insane. I loved watching that.
Yeah.
I watch all that, right? I draw the line at water polo. I refuse to watch it. I think it's horrible.
All right, well, we'll bring in our 4th guest today. George Karloftis joins us live. Actually, Tucker and I are going to get out of here. The shades have gone back on for one Nick Springer. A big thank you to him. Tucker Franklin here making a surprise appearance on a day we didn't think we were going to get to have him. I am Joshua Brisco. I feel like that's a pretty good sign off for all of us. Thanks again to our friends at KC Cannabis Company. Gonna have an amazing set of sales. Again, you check them out online at kccannabis.com. And I told you about that earlier. Tucker's having a Diet Dr. Pepper. Nick's having a breakdown. I'm having an end of the show. And hopefully everyone has a nice weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Till then, bye, Mom!